Hey everyone, happy Saturday. I'm really excited to show you, another episode of me batch cooking all of the meals for the week, but this is like our summer edition, which I know I should take off my sweater since it's supposed to be the summer edition, but it's actually freakishly cool here in LA today. But summer edition, which means trying to do more cooking with less of the heat. And so one of the things that I love to do during the summer is really make use of my appliances. So as you can see, I have my rice cooker and my pressure cooker back there, and I'm actually gonna cook in them today. But one thing that I did this morning was I put my rice and my potatoes in before I went to my yoga class. So I just like assembled them, pushed the button, went to yoga, and now I've come home and my potatoes are cooked for the week and my rice is cooked for the week. And that's great because now I can just turn it off, take it out, and I'll be able to use those things to make more food. And the nice thing about it, in addition to that I could leave, was that they don't cause heat. They don't warm up my house. It's not like my stove or my oven. They're not, they're contained. So I'm gonna just address those real quick so I can use them some more. Oh yes, perfect. And quinoa, actually, if you have a rice cooker, you can cook quinoa in it. The white setting, if you have a white setting, some rice cookers don't, but with my rice cooker, I can actually put quinoa in and do the white setting, which is about 10 to 15 minutes. So it doesn't just do rice, it also does quinoa, which is great since we have the quinoa nori rolls this week. So that's something you can do, which is what I would be doing right now, is I would be putting in my quinoa now that my rice is done, but I'm actually skipping those rolls this week because we have guests coming and our guest is allergic to quinoa. So definitely don't want to poison him. But anyway, I'm gonna make a bunch of different stuff from both plans today, just to sort of fit our lifestyle, which is one of the things I love about the plans, is that depending on my schedule, my husband's schedule, and if we have guests, I can do more, I can do less. And so it's really nice to kind of have that customization going on now. So that's it. And I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm gonna make today, and I'm just doing this completely off the fly, no pre-planning, just so you guys can really sort of see my process and how I do it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do today is, let's see, which one do I wanna make first? Oh, I'll do the buffalo chickpea potato bowl since I just took out my potatoes. And that's the great thing. If you cook your potatoes ahead, whether it's the same day or 5 days later, I'm actually gonna use my potatoes from last week. So you can see these guys just came out of the fridge. So I'm gonna use potatoes just to show that if your potatoes have been cooked ahead, you can still make the recipe work. So one of the things that I'm gonna need to do is line my skillet to start cooking my carrot and my celery. Oh, can you guys hear my dog crying? I know, buddy, but you can't be in here right now. He wants to be on the webcast so bad. He gets so jealous. Such a jealous boy. Such a jealous boy. And I'm actually making the bigger version of this recipe. And carrots are really getting big in the summertime. I remember they were so skinny earlier this year. And here's a little tip. I don't peel my carrots. 2 reasons. 1, I don't want to waste the time. And 2, a lot of the nutrients are right at the top. So when you kind of, shave them, you lose a little bit. So I don't do it. If I'm having guests over, sometimes I'll shave them, but at home, I'm also, and if you guys have watched me do this before, you'll see that I save all of my little end pieces, because what I do at the end with all of my leftover scraps is I make broth, which is great because that saves me like $8, $12 a week. I was spending so much money on broth to buy like the organic, no salt, no oil broth. And now I just make it myself. And it's really nice to get sort of that second life out of everything. All right. Let me see if I can, because I know you guys love to watch, get some like sort of chopping skills. I could have cheated and put this like in my food processor, but I find I'm about as fast with my hand now, so it's one less thing to clean. Since this part of my carrot is so much bigger than the rest of my carrot, I'm just going to cut it in half so everything cooks a little bit even. And that's one thing too. If you want to speed up your cooking time, definitely cut stuff smaller, because the smaller it is, the faster it'll cook. And so if you really want to save a lot of time, and I always do, I always try to make stuff just, you know, a little bit smaller, especially like potatoes and stuff. Just pick smaller pieces, cut smaller, dice smaller, because the bigger, the chunkier, the longer it's going to take. But on that same note, if you're going to end up using something like a slow cooker to cook your meal, and you know it's a long cook, then a bigger might be better if you're worried about mush. And that's another great thing. I know a lot of you've already started doing stuff in your slow cooker. You can do beans in a slow cooker, which is just another really great way of making sure that you're not heating up your house. Because if you're like me and you don't have air, I mean, it really makes a big difference. All right, let me get some celery. I'm actually going to add a little bit more celery just because I love it so much. I know I'm probably alone in that feeling, but again, just saving my ends, saving these little ugly pieces because they make a great broth. Again, saving my ends for my broth later. And also, sometimes when I'm making this buffalo chickpea bowl, which I know has been a huge hit, and I love it, it's one of my favorites, is sometimes I will even throw in some onion or garlic if I happen to have a little bit extra hanging around. Right, we'll get this guy started. Right, well, that's hanging out. And see, like this big piece, it's perfect for the broth. Absolutely perfect for my broth later. Alrighty. Oh yeah, I'm so excited for the hummus pasta. This is such a good dish. So I'm going to start with getting all my veggies ready. I'm going to need a bowl to catch them. All right. And this recipe actually shows one of my favorite cooking secrets, which is right before your pasta is done, just throwing everything in, like the last minute or two to cook all of your vegetables, and then you're using one pot, and it's just, it just makes life so much easier when you do it that way. Which reminds me, I should get my water on a boil. Get that going. I don't know about you guys, but the zucchinis have been really great for me this summer, and they've been so incredibly cheap. It's been really nice. I've had the lowest grocery bills I think ever, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of hoping that it'll last a little bit longer than just summer. And I actually, a few years ago, I had a garden, and I found zucchini to be extremely easy to grow. If you're considering gardening, zucchinis are an easy guy. So are cherry tomatoes. They are easy and cheap to grow. My store actually didn't have cherry tomatoes, so I ended up getting these they're a little bit bigger than cherry tomatoes, but I think those are going to work just as well in all of my recipes. And honestly, you could even put in a regular tomato, just dice it up. Really, the recipes are super flexible like that, so use whatever you have, use what's on sale. I actually like to chop up my cherry tomatoes, but you don't have to do that. You could just leave them whole, but I do just like to have them a little bit smaller. And there is this great little YouTube video where people put cherry tomatoes between two plates and like go around, and then they're all cut. But I think I would stab myself or hurt myself if I did it that way. Okay. Bell pepper. Some of you I know put these gross parts in your broth. I've had mixed results. I sometimes think putting the inside of bell pepper, it makes it a little bit bitter, but I know some of you have had great luck using it too. But I guess it could be a personal preference, but for me, I tend to not put that in. That's about the only thing that I don't do. And also if you do like onion skins, sometimes that can make it really brown, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes you just don't want a super dark broth, especially if you're making like a light colored soup or something like that. This is my new favorite way to cut a bell pepper. See if I flip it over, maybe it'll be a little smoother for me. There we go.
So Rhonda and
Hi, Rhonda.
They both wanted to know, they noticed you didn't wash any of your vegetables, or have you already done that?
I don't wash my vegetables. If they're really covered in dirt, like if I buy them from the farmer's market, then I'll tend to give them a wash. But for the most part, I don't wash them. You certainly could, but a friend of mine convinced me that absent, something that you think is covered in pesticides, if you're, buying organic, it's actually good to introduce germs basically into your life, because one of the reasons we get really sick is that we're using all of this antibacterial stuff. And there's been all these studies where kids who grew up on farms had like less health problems and less allergies than kids who grew up in cities. And they think it's because of the lack of like bugs and bacteria and stuff. And so for me, because I don't have any kind of compromised system, I don't have a compromised immunity, for me, it works well to, just eat it. And so far, no problems. I actually did have E. coli. I had that in Spain. And I think one of the things that saved me was that I had built sort of like a stronger system. So, and I'm lazy. All right, so let me just check on these guys, see how they're coming along. Not quite soft to my tenderness yet, but they'll just keep going. You can see while they've been cooking, I've been chopping up my vegetables for my pasta, so that's really exciting.
So Tashina Marshall wanted to know, do we get these videos once a month?
I do the batch cooking videos, I guess, every couple of weeks, I guess I do them. With the seasons, with the plans, just to kind of give it a variety. I guess I don't really have a set schedule for them, but they're always fun. I always like to do them, but my schedule doesn't permit me to do them every week, or I would. Check on my water. It takes forever to get water to boil where I live. I think it's because of the altitude. Because how high are we at elevation? Like 4,000 feet or something? Oh, is that it? Only 1,200?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need this page. Guess I can also work on my Samosa burritos, which I was really excited to see back on the plan this week, because we loved those the last time they were around. And that's where I can use my already cooked potatoes. But I do have other videos we have chats every week, and then we do have video chats with, I get probably every other week or something. We've had 3 this week, so this week has been a lot of fun interaction. And I probably cooked these guys about a week ago, I think. Maybe on Monday. I think when we came home from the holiday weekend, I made these potatoes on Monday. And these are just what's left over. So They are being recycled into this week's new meal plan. Oh, good. My water's finally boiling. And this is one of the ways that I really save a lot of time each week with my batch cooking and my prep is I just make sure to just keep everything going. And then, of course, like the passive stuff, like I mentioned, I had my rice going. And I do that during the week too sometimes. Like I love to just make huge batches of rice, freeze them. Once a month, I make this huge batch of rice. I freeze it, and then we just eat it off all month long out of the freezer. I do that with our beans. And so it's a lot of fun, a lot of easy shortcuts to make it easier for all of us with our crazy, crazy busy schedules. Let's get another carrot. Need a longer cutting board. And when I used to live in a teeny tiny studio apartment in New York City, I actually would put my cutting board on my stove because my stove was just 2 eyes. It was that small. And I would prep everything and put it in all these bowls and then line the bowls up and then move my cutting board on top of my sink to put all my bowls that way. And then I could cook on the stove. It's all about making it work, but I feel very spoiled now to actually have this tiny little bit of space right here. And again, I'm not skinning my carrots first because I want to keep the nutrients, and it really, I don't feel like it makes a difference. Though, like I said, when I have guests come, I tend to just, you never know. People can be weird. So good. Oh, my water's boiling. I'm actually trying this. I picked it up on a whim, this brown rice quinoa spaghetti pasta at Trader Joe's. So I'm really excited to see how this pasta is. I've heard really good things from the members that are gluten-free and how much they love quinoa pasta, so I'm definitely intrigued. Let's see, what does it say? All right, 7 to 10 minutes. So I don't forget. Okay, cover you back up. Check on my tenderness of my veggies. Oh yeah, they're getting there. They're almost done. So we'll just leave that uncovered so we can cook off some of that liquid. We can get these guys over to their pot. I tend to line my pots with water or broth if I have it. I do think that the broth adds a little something extra. But if you forgot to make broth that week or you're out, it's okay to use water. You just might want to ramp up your spices a little bit. What's going on with you guys? Cooking well. I don't like my vegetables to be super mushy, so I do it until they're just fork tender. But you can do it as much, to your tenderness, whatever kind of, softness you like. My husband likes things to be a little bit softer than I do, but it works out great because when he reheats, then it's perfect for him. All right, so I'm adding Frank's hot sauce. I love this stuff. This is not the wing sauce, and this is not hot. And I know you guys sometimes get tripped up by hot sauce, so we try to make a recommendation for brands with every recipe because it is a little different. But not all hot sauces are the same. There's definitely a thread in the forums that kind of explains all the different hot sauces. And I also posted a note in Facebook because something like Frank's it says it's a hot sauce, but it's really not that hot. I feel it's more sweet versus Tabasco, which is like fire explosive hot. And so you would only want to ever use a little bit of that, or this one you can definitely be a little bit more generous. And I think I'm gonna actually tap out the last of my bottle here. Time to get more Franks. This recipe actually calls for chickpeas, but as most of you guys know, I cannot have legumes, so I'm not adding the chickpeas, but you can certainly add the chickpeas. And when my husband makes it, he tends to add a little bit of chickpeas himself, just to sprinkle it in. Oh, that smells so nice. You can also add, if you want it a little bit sweeter, you can also add a little bit of sweetener. The original recipe does call for a little bit of sweetener, but I actually like it a little bit more of the tangy side, so I don't add the sweetener. But again, that's one of the great things about the meal plans is that you can kind of tweak all of these recipes to your perfect sort of taste. And once this guy is just kind of done hanging out, it's done. I mean, it's so fast. All I would need to do is I could add some green onion, which I guess I could do. I love green onions. I didn't always. I forced myself to like them, but now that I do, we are happy to some. And then this lovely dish will just be served over my potatoes that I cooked on my way to yoga. I think I told everyone about 1,000 times, but I bought glass Glock Tupperware, and it has changed my life. Not only because it, as you'll see, it doesn't pick up, you know, how plastic can kind of stain and get an ugly color. But what I love most about it is my husband and I can put this straight into the oven or straight into the microwave when we're reheating. And it's nice because before with the plastic, I had to get a plate and dump it out and then heat it. And then I had double dirty. And now it's just this. I eat out of it. I use it. It's just so much less effort, so much less work, and more importantly, so much less cleaning. And it's really great because it's glass. Like, I feel comfortable that if Scott just goes into the bathroom and rinses it out at lunch, that, you know, he brings it home, it's not going to get any grosser. I really love these things. Any other questions coming in from the live chat?
What is this Frank's hot sauce? Can I make it at home? We don't have it in Poland from Coffee Cafe. There
are recipes online for how to make hot sauce yourself at home. You just need like hot peppers and vinegars. And a lot of my friends actually do that. They are really into making their own hot sauce. And it's pretty easy. And if you make like a ton of it up in a big batch, then you'll have a lot of it. But hot sauce is definitely something that we love in America for sure. All right, so that's one recipe down. Samosa burritos going. So one of the ways that I use my pressure cooker or any of my other appliances in the summer is they have a saute setting. And so I will actually just cook in it. And I do this when I travel, is I will use the pressure cooker and I will just saute in it like it was the stovetop. And that, actually, you know what, I could probably do that with this recipe. That allows me to cook without ever having to use my hot stove, stand over my hot stove. It's really nice. I love to do this. Oh, just in time. So I'll do this in my pressure cooker, but now I need to check on my pasta. Yes, and my pasta is almost done, which means time to add the vegetables so they cook at the last minute. Just a little bit at the end, and then that dish will be done. Super exciting. So I always save my pasta water. One of the reasons is I love to use it in sauces because it makes sauces a little thicker. I also sometimes will use it to thicken up hummus. So I always save it. So that's just something I do. Of course, you certainly don't have to, but it's one of those things that I just save and find there's a lot of good uses for it. And so I'm getting ready to do that. Get rid of all these scraps into my scrap bowl. Just not the sticker. Don't ever, definitely don't want to keep the sticker. So I'm going to move everything for the samosa burritos into my pressure cooker. Guess I'll have to turn so you guys can see it, but for now, okay. I'm also going to make the carrot soup this week in my pressure cooker too. So that's exciting. I know you guys are always asking about that. Let's check on my pasta. So it's literally like the last minute or two. And the way you know is you can just stick your fork in and check on your vegetables. And when they're all nice and soft as mine are now. So my vegetables are soft. I'm going to test a piece of the pasta. That's perfect. And if you're worried about your pasta getting too like goopy or soft when you're going to reheat it, you could always leave it just a little al dente. But mine... Yes, yeah, you guys are right. The quinoa stuff is great. This is great. Oh, can't even pick it back up. Let's see if I can bring this pot over to see. So you can see I just kind of, now I'm being all steamed on. I added all of my veggies there right at the end. Now I'm just going to drain them. Bring it over here. So you can see so much steam, but oh, I'm getting a nice facial. All right, so there's my pasta and my veggies all done. All I have left to do is add the hummus and the other seasonings to it, and I'm done. And if you're worried about your pasta still cooking too much, and this is definitely true if you haven't, see all that water? That's what I'm saving. And if you're worried about your pasta, especially if you're doing a gluten-free one like a brown rice one, getting cooking too much still, you can rinse it with cold water and it'll just stop it. You would just leave it in here, rinse it with cold water, and it'll just sort of stop the cooking, especially if you forgot and everything's already so cooked and so tender. That's a good thing to do. But for me, I just have it. That is still hot.
So Tanisha asked, is that dish that you just put in the glass bowl enough for you and Scott, or is it just for you?
Well, that is actually going on the buffalo chickpeas. That's just a topping. It goes on top of potatoes. So that's enough for 2 people. And like I said, it needs chickpeas still, which my husband's going to add to his portion. And then, of course, it's going to go on to baked potatoes. So it's actually a lot more than it looks. But here's the dish. And then I made my potatoes right here for putting it on top of it. And I'll actually add a little something extra to mine too. I'll probably add like some kale or some greens or whatever to make up for the fact that I'm not going to have the chickpeas with it.
SGP, I wanted to know which brand of pressure cooker you use and you travel with.
I prefer the Cuisinart, which I don't have right now because a friend of mine's borrowing it. But I love, 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 love the Cuisinart. A lot of other people use the Instapot, which is what I had to use today. I have a whole blog post explaining the pros and cons of each, the Cuisinart and the pressure cooker. They each have their merits, and it really comes down to how you're going to use it and your cooking style, your batch style. There's, like I said, they each have their merits. They're very different. For me, the Cuisinart is just 1,000 times better. It's what I recommend, but a lot of other people like other ones. So you could check out that blog post on Happy Herbivore to sort of see. I'm not sure. Let's see. Maybe if we turn him this way, you can see the steam's coming out. And I'm using, like I said, I'm using this as the saute setting as I would use a stovetop. So you're still gonna get hit with like some heat on your hand, but I'm not heating my house with this big stove. I'm just cooking right here, right inside it. And this is what I do in hotel rooms when we're traveling, is I just put it, do you like how my apples are holding my iPhone? I just put everything in here and I use it as my makeshift stove. A friend of mine that goes camping, I mean, obviously you have to have an electrical outlet at your campsite. This is how she camps, and she camps for like weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. So it's a really great option for healthy travel and just, you know, making it work. I need to add some onion, I have a little bit left over.
So, Janet Cox wants to know what kind of pasta you use. What's the vote on semolina versus whole wheat?
Semolina is wheat. Those are just, that's kind of, semolina is wheat. I use.
She just said semolina versus whole wheat.
Like a white pasta versus a whole wheat pasta?
I mean, semolina, you could probably have whole wheat semolina pasta. It's just.
It's your preference, like what you like better. One of my assistants is very, 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 very allergic to wheat. She's not allergic to gluten. She's allergic to wheat. And so when I cook, I tend to try to do wheat-free things so that she can eat them and it would be safe for her. But personally, I do like whole wheat. But like I said, I'm trying to accommodate a dietary allergy. And today I used brown rice quinoa pasta, and so far I really like it. I've used brown rice pasta many times, but I also use whole wheat pasta. We've also used rice noodles. I tend to buy what's on sale, or again, based on who I'm feeding. I have a relative who is allergic to quinoa, so we're actually gonna have to eat this before they get here, just, you know, in case. I don't want someone to go into the fridge and eat something and get ill. And then, of course, like I said, my assistant's allergic to wheat. My sister's allergic to black pepper. As you guys know, I'm allergic to broccoli. Scott's got allergies. My parents have allergies. My mom's allergic to soy. So I'm always accommodating, but really it's finding a pasta that you like and you're gonna eat and your family's gonna eat. And this one looks very promising. Definitely looks promising. Yeah, that's good. I think I have pasta in my hair now. All right, so my onions are in there. My potatoes are cooking along with my carrots. I need to add some cumin. Just over here. And I am definitely a heavy hand with the spice, which is, again, a personal preference. You can always add a little more or less of spice as you like. I like things to be like really strong with flavor. And so for me, I'm always ramping it up, but you can always start with less and add more. But a little more or less of a spice, as long as it's not a hot spice, usually doesn't matter. Now a little bit of turmeric. Where's my little guy? Oh, this smells so good. It's really, I mean, it's working so well. Actually, you know, I think it might even be a little bit faster than my stove. Now now that I'm looking at how fast these carrots are cooking. Here's turmeric. Let's see, what else do I need? And some curry powder. I also need to add peas, and I thought that I bought peas, but what I actually bought was a vegetable medley. I didn't buy frozen peas, so I think I'm gonna just add that anyway and call it a win versus waiting until I get the peas. Use what you have on hand. That's like one of the things I love about the meal plans. And this is done. This is amazing. I know, I love this. Everyone was so obsessed with these Samosa burritos, and for good reason. They're so good. I'm really glad that they made a comeback on the meal plans this week as a lunch option. Really super easy. That smells like heaven. Smells like heaven. Okay, so that's done too. Oh my gosh, I think I'm pretty much almost done. Oh, and there's the pugs making so much noise. Let's see. I guess I still need to make the carrot soup. I need my pressure cooker for that. Is this the page? Okay, let me get another. I think that'll work. So good. Sometimes I think scooping it out, getting every little bit out is like the hardest part of cooking. Let's see, more. Yes. Another one bites the dust. Alrighty. Just give my pressure cooker a good clean because it is a little messy, but it worked. I mean, you guys saw how well it worked. It just cooked right in there like it was the stove. And now to pressure cook my carrots for my carrot soup. So one thing that you could do is you could just put them in whole. You could just put them in whole and pressure cook them that way. But if you want it to be faster, if you're really, in a pressed kind of situation for time, just cut your carrots and they'll cook even faster. And that's what I'm going to do today since I'm live and because I also am going to see a movie in a little bit, so I'm trying to finish up. So it's my life trying to balance it all. So I just, again, and I'm not cleaning them because these are just going to be blended in a soup, so no one's going to see. But I am taking off the little nubbin at the end. But otherwise, nope. And the best part is when I'm done with all this, I'm going to put all my scraps in my pressure cooker and make broth while I'm at the movies because it's all about multitasking on the weekend. Alrighty. And I love making my appliances work for me. This one's so little, it doesn't need to be cut compared to the others. Yum, yum, yum. This is one of my favorite soups. And the best part about this soup is you can eat it warm or cold. So I love that about it. That sounds good. Okay. So while that's busy cooking, I think, am I done otherwise? I feel like I might be. Let's see. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Made my soups and boy. Oh, the broccoli bowls, which I'm actually going to be making with bell peppers since I am allergic to broccoli. And this is another dish that I could be making in my pressure cooker using it as a stove, but since it's busy doing something else, we'll just do it right in here. I'm actually going to do, like I said, I'm going to do a green bell pepper since I'm allergic to broccoli. And that's another great thing, like I said, about these recipes is you can really sort of do them based on your family's taste, what you have on hand, what your allergies might be. Everything's really, really forgiving. Green bell peppers are my go-to for a broccoli sub.
Christian wanted to know, are you making dinner only or is it for lunch also?
What we do is we make the dinners, usually the family dinners, because then we have leftovers for lunch the next day. And that's pretty much what's going to go on with all of this is there's enough for us to have our dinner and then there's a little bit left over for lunch the next day. A couple of these we could just eat for lunch, but we just sort of make the food and then portion it out for our different meals. This week, my husband's actually not going to be home for 2 nights. He's got like a baseball thing and then he has a friend thing. And I'm not going to be home for dinner one night because it's a girlfriend's birthday. And then on top of that, our family is coming in. And so we're going out to dinner the night they come in. So I've had to like sort of cut back on my cooking. But that's one of the things I love about the plans is there's recipes for 1, recipes for 2, and recipes for 4. So I can kind of plan it based on how many meals I'm going to need this week. And so that's what I did. I counted it up. I was like, okay, we need about 12 to 13 servings. So let me pick meals that create that 13 servings for us. Like 10 minutes. Why? Yeah, I'm almost done. It's just, well, I guess it's dependent on the carrots now. And once my carrots are done cooking in my pressure cooker, I'm just going to put them in my blender with the rest of the ingredients. And then that's done too. Really easy, super, super, super easy. I'm actually going to add a zucchini to this as well, just because I have an extra one lying around. And you'll see my broth bucket's really, isn't that beautiful? My broth bucket's really coming along nicely. And the other thing I still need to make is my peach dressing for my for my kale salad this week. The one thing though is my peaches are not quite ripe yet. And so one of the things I added in my little note to you guys with the meal plan is about stone fruits and how to store them. And what you do is you want to store a stone fruit on a counter until it hits its ripeness. And then when it hits its ripeness, if you're not eating it right then, to put it in your fridge, but don't put it in your fridge too soon because it won't continue to ripen really. And so for me, my peaches, I looked and looked for, ripe peaches at the market, but there weren't any. And so I'm just going to let these sit on my counter and sort of ripen for another day or two. But the dressing is so easy. It's just all in a blender that I'll just make it on demand. But I would have liked to have made it in advance today, which I would be doing right now while I'm waiting for this. But alas, they're not ripe enough yet. But they will be, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And I guess I can show you guys my rice.
So Sarah Davis wants to know how long did you cook the carrots for?
I put them in for 8 minutes. I think that's probably too long, but just check your manual. Your manual will tell you what to do for carrots. Most of my vegetables in my Cuisinart are 1 minute to 2 minutes, and it's one of the reasons I love the Cuisinart so much is everything's like 1 to 2 minutes, and it's consistent. I have never had consistency with the Instapot, and I don't know why. Even artichokes and corn that I do almost every week, they're never consistent. But so I'm just we'll see. Hopefully it won't be too bad. I need to add my basil to my pasta. I knew I was forgetting something. I love basil. Love it. This is a little chef secret, is when I want to do like something kind of different and fancy, I will put my basil in my chocolate cake. Which sounds weird, I know, but it's actually really good. And fortunately for me, everyone that eats with me loves basil too, so I can add in as much as I want, nobody complains. That pasta is so beautiful, so beautiful. Make my orange sauce real quick, and then I'm pretty much done. One nice thing is I bought this little baby size marmalade instead of having to buy a whole big one just for this recipe, which was nice. I don't know if your store has this brand, but I was really excited to be able to buy this. It came in a little pack. There was like a grape and a strawberry and something else too. But it was really nice if you don't use orange marmalade. When I buy orange marmalade, my husband loves it so much that I end up using it really quickly, like more quickly than I anticipated. But it's nice here if you aren't going to be using it on like toast and things like that. So need 1/3 cup of water. With some ginger. And it's a new ginger, I just bought this guy. I'm gonna add a little bit extra just because I really like ginger. My garlic. Also, my husband loves garlic, so I tend to add way more garlic than normal. But again, this is all about knowing your taste and just adding a little more or a little less based on that. I'm using low sodium gluten-free tamari because, like I said earlier, one of Happy Herbivore's team members is very allergic to wheat, and so I really try to buy all the gluten-free stuff whenever I can. Where's my cute little orange marmalade? That's I have enough. I think, yeah, that's at least another tablespoon. So I have enough for making this recipe again at a later date. Mm. Everything's coming along so nicely. I made you. I can't make you yet because you're not ripe. Because I know my husband really likes a glaze on stuff. Like he likes things to be glazed. I'm actually going to also add just a little bit of cornstarch, which is a thickener. Just something I'll do every now and then if I really want to make something a little thicker. Just put that in there. And actually, I think I even have an orange. Oh, I do. So I'm going to add an orange too. Why not? Oh, maybe, I think maybe I'll just eat this orange. It smells so good. It smells so good. I know. I'll use half. Oh, it smells so good. So good. I got all the seeds. Nothing gets left behind. No juice. Picking it apart. Oh, that looks so nice. Oh, okay, fine. You win. I'll put it in a stir fry just because it looks so beautiful. You'll see I'm squeezing every little bit of juice and pulp from every piece of the skin because I really don't want to waste anything. Really want to get the most out of this. My husband will also be adding his leftover chickpeas from the buffalo chickpeas to his portion of this dish as well. Get all these seeds out. Okay, how to do it. My God. Oh, so good. I'm shooting. Oh my God, so good. It's so good, so good, so good. Oh, I should have bought more of those oranges. I think they were the Valencia ones. If you guys are curious. So good. And the great thing is I already cooked my rice, so that's ready to go with this dish too. And that's it. I'm done, except for my carrots that I need to blend, which are hopefully going to be done in a few seconds, but really easy. And that's the other thing I said. I saved my my pasta water, which I'll actually probably put a little bit into the carrot soup when I blend it, just to give it a little something extra, a little extra creaminess. But look at how gorgeous my pasta came out. Isn't that beautiful? So beautiful. Yummy. And this was the pasta that I used today. Oh, this smells so good too. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to want to eat for lunch now. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So I guess that's it, guys. Another fun day. An hour. Cooked all my meals for the week again. Yes. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus my sides. Yeah, so that's pretty good, right? I mean, surely we all have, and that's the thing about it is because it's 5 meals, it's not just, it's 5 days, but it's breakfast and, or not breakfast, it's lunch and dinner, because we always take leftovers the next day. So I'm really done for the whole week, and it'll actually carry us into the weekend because, as I mentioned, my husband's going to be gone one night and I'm going to be gone one night, and so those get pushed. But it's really easy. Just get in the kitchen, get cooking. Like I said, use your pressure cooker. It can act as a stove if you don't want to use your stove, because I'm feeling hot just standing over this heat right now. Use your slow cooker. Use a number of things. Just dump and go. But I really do think that summer can be a cool time. You can still have cooked delicious food, home cooked food, and not get hot. And these are some of the secrets to getting there. But I hope you enjoyed another one of these live cooking events. I will try to do another one when it gets a little cooler, and maybe we're getting into squash, because I know everyone has difficulties with squash sometimes, but it smells so good. I am getting so distracted because it smells so nice. But yeah, all right, have a great weekend, everyone.